working with boys who have been sexually abused or wrongfully incarcerated is both a rewarding and challenging experience that I've had since 2011. Our halfway house has a capacity to host 14 to 20 boys and young men. And this this past April of this year, we've been hosting about 6 boys at the halfway house. Um, so 3 of these boys were were sexually abused, and 2 of them came out of a prison program, and the other one belonged to a family who has been having a challenge with raising their teenage son. For me, this has been a very rewarding experience in terms of seeing these boys look at and focus on the treasure that they have deep within themselves, instead of focusing on the pain, stigma, and the trauma that they had. Them exiting our halfway house with their head held high gave me like a lot of fulfillment. It made me feel very happy and joyful that we had invested in their lives. It's also a very challenging experience because most people look at boys who have been sexually abused as boys who are weak. They look at boys who are coming out of prison as potential perpetrators, and as a result, they treat them with stigma, which causes more trauma, and it makes those boys actually become perpetrators and people who harm not only themselves but the community at large. The fact impact that our work has to do with the boys themselves. I mean, when they change the way they view themselves, they change the way they look at themselves, and also it enables them to change the way they respond and react to future stigma and the trauma that they'll be facing in the future. The other impact happens from the families when the families are able to look at these boys as healed and as whole instead of looking at them as broken members of the society and the community. The other impact is that when the boys, sorry, the other impact is the other impact is that when the people who have been wronged by these boys are able to look at them as co-creators of the change that we want to see in the community, that has a lot of impact. The other one also is that many people look at sexual abuse specifically against boys as something that is over stigma and largely something that many people do not want to deal with. But because of our work and because of the way we embrace these boys, many people look at them as co-creators, and they're able to embrace them and welcome them back into the community with open and loving arms. Choosing to lead this organization calls for a lot of role modeling, self-acceptance, vulnerability, courage, empathy, creativity, and being resourceful. For me, it's a tough choice that I made because, as I mentioned before, I grew up without a father, and most of these boys, they're looking for the same thing that I grew up without. That calls for balance. I mean, it's something that I cannot do unless I really cooperate with my leader within, and also cooperate with other people in the community and across the world in order to bring and find the resources that these boys require in order for them to have a second chance in their lives. There are many instances where I struggle a lot with self-doubt. I struggle with the things that I didn't grow up with, and I tend to look at them and it clouds my judgment. However, when I really tap into my leader within, when I really tap into the universe and the collective unity that we have as human beings across the world, I'm able to really be the balanced, empathetic, caring, and resourceful leader that boys in Kenya who have gone through stigma and trauma need. And so I'm very grateful, and I look forward to being part of this leadership experience through CTI. Thank you.